No human on earth has the ability to write notes on a yellow notepad and listen for that long. You simply would be taking good notes and being a bad listener, or being a great listener and forgetting everything by the next house you got to. They saw a spike from their best closer. The best one out of 10 was doing 32% in 2024. Once implemented in 2025, he jumped to 61%, meaning their worst in 2025 did better than their best in 2024. Same people, new system. All right, I have a confession. For the last year, there's been a huge revenue generator in our company that I have not advertised. It wasn't social media, it wasn't paid ads, it wasn't websites or funnels. In fact, unless you went to the service pages on your website, you probably wouldn't know that it even existed. But this one service quietly became 25% of our agency's revenue in 2025. Custom GPTs. And here's the crazy part. Most business owners are still talking about ChatGPT like it's just better than a Google search. They might use it to one-to-one write their emails, maybe summarize a document or a contract instead of talking to their lawyer, and maybe at best they're gonna brainstorm content ideas that they fail to execute on, don't send files to their team, and end up just being a great ideation tank, but never anything that actually turns into action. But that's not what the real opportunity here is. The real opportunity is turning ChatGPT into siloed little departments of all the knowledge and tasks that are already happening within your company. These little specialized employees never forget things. They do the task the same way every time. They're never late. They work 24/7. And they are efficient. Today I'm going to talk about exactly how we've done this for roofing companies, home builders, realtors, mortgage lenders, beauty professionals, and even a few health and wellness companies. So the first thing is the biggest misconception. Everyone thinks that AI is really just there to ask questions to. A lot of people don't realize that we can have the AI ask us questions, and that's exactly how this starts for every company we work with. I get on about a 1, sometimes 2-hour call with them, and I have preset questions that are to get me to understand what their company is doing every day, what functions humans are running, where all the gaps are, and we take a fix the leaky bucket approach first before we build anything fancy to generate a ton of new revenue. So once we've sealed up all the holes, maybe that was emails were getting missed, their CRM wasn't optimized for follow-up, and whoever they were having manage their content was maybe really good at shooting content, maybe they were a great editor, but they really didn't just have the full distribution package. Once we had all those things fixed up, then it was time to look at where do we want to start creating these specialized employees. And before I get too deep into this, all you need to know about a custom GPT is it really just does 3 things. 1, it has a fixed knowledge base. So instead of it just being this infinitely searching the web or database of your memory type of language model, you're gonna give it somewhere between 5 to 10 PDFs or markdown files that have information about what its job is, what its output that it's supposed to create for you is, and then how it can do that and what quality or scoring engine you might expect it to operate on. And if a lot of that scared you, don't worry, I'm gonna break it down company by company so you can see a real world example. The first one we sold was for roofing companies. There's a guy I know out in Wisconsin who has a very heavy door knocking roofing company. So a lot of times they get these storms up there and these guys are knocking the doors and they are hustling. And they might have anywhere between 15 to 20 conversations per hour. And here's the thing, no human on earth has the ability to write notes on a yellow notepad and listen for that long. You simply would be taking good notes and being a bad listener, or being a great listener and forgetting everything by the next house you got to. So what his team quickly implemented was a system where they all wear plod pins, and those record every single conversation. And we have those automatically upload to a custom GPT that has 3 jobs. So this little AI employee isn't just taking 1 job, it's taking 3. First, it organizes all of these calls by the lead's name, the issue with their roof or siding, what their insurance provider is, what policy they have, and then it also breaks down what the damage is with a photo report. So that alone replaces the need for someone in the office to manually do that 40 to 80 hours a week. The second job it does is it actually builds a report. So it takes what the customer said, it looks at all of the photos, it has preset rules that the owner of the roofing company had already had for what was worth filing a claim for, what would have been stretching it, and then how to make sure that they're actually working friendly with the insurance company to make sure that they aren't getting taken advantage of, as well as the homeowner, so that they know that they're getting covered and that if they had a policy, they're actually able to use it. And so what was very cool about this was that now with the same amount of effort, everyone's knocking the same amount of doors, Notes are automatically being added to the CRM. The photos are all saving in a Google Drive that everyone in the company and vendors can access. And Ty, as the owner of the company, doesn't have to actually give hypercritical sales coaching that is generalized to the team. He can look individually at every single one of his door knockers, look at who's doing well, who's closing well, and who's setting well. And then he can add that to his knowledge base for another GPT I'm going to tell you about later in the video. The next one is the real estate listing GPT. So a lot of realtors I work with, they all want the listings, right? Who wants to drive a home buyer around 20 times for the same commission? When you can meet with someone once at their house, call your photographer, call the stager, have them come in, maybe you see them once or twice more, host an open house if you even host it, and then look, you're making anywhere between $5,000 to $50,000 for the same amount of effort, right? So you need help making sure that that's secure, you're gonna get more of those opportunities, and that every step along that way is done at a high quality so that when you list this person's house, their 5 friends find out about you because your service was so great. So here's what the listing GPTs do. First, they listen to all the conversations, right? We learned from the roofing GPT that those transcripts are where the gold is. So it records the first listing appointment even before they're hired. Once we give this custom GPT the address of the house we're going to, it makes a comparison report of all the homes in the area, not in a general way, but how the specific realtor does it on their own. And what I've learned working with tons of top producers is not all comps are the same. Sometimes you're going to talk about businesses in the area. In some markets like Southwest Florida, you're going to talk about river access or how close the beach is. In areas like Ohio, you're going to talk about how much land you have or what the neighborhood is like. And in certain markets where it's a little bit more risky, like maybe a beach town, you want to know if the land you're building on is even foundationally safe. So it creates a comparison report, and it also listens to the first phone call that was had to even set that appointment. So if any shared information such as nerves about selling, some objections of saying that they just want a home value when you get there, it'll actually bake those into the comparison report so that each customer feels like it was made just for them. Once they secure the deal and close it, you go back to the same GPT and you tell this little specialized employee, we got the listing and now it's time to go. In this, a couple of things are going to happen. We always make sure we save whatever real estate media company they have and like to use, contact information, whether that's email, phone number, or booking link, and we give it permission based on the times the homeowner said they were available and when the media company can get out there to automatically book video, photo, drone, whatever that listing deserves. And sometimes it's only a few of those things. Then, for certain properties, you want to make sure that they're staged correctly. And this is a very delicate timeline. Some people are still living in their house. Some people have maybe moved to the next one. So all it's going to do is it's trained to ask you or whatever agent on your team has this listing, how quickly can we get in the house? How long do the stagers have? Are there certain days that are inconvenient for the homeowner? And then same thing, pre-drafts a message to that staging company, asks them what time they're available and if the price makes sense. And then upon approval says, hey, this person's good to go. You approve it and then it books them as well. So now you've given the same guaranteed excellent service to every client and it's not on you to remember anymore. Then once all the media comes back to you, so the photographers and video crew is done, the stager has been in there and it looks beautiful, maybe even hires a cleaning company because you know that they didn't really clean up as well as they said they would. It'll then tell you everything is ready to go. It's going to write a listing description. It's going to pull unique personal details from those original conversations you had with your client, and it's going to bake them into the Zillow listing description because we all know that every agent is using AI to write these descriptions. So whoever's got the most personal, soul-filled transcripts, you got to shove that into the description. It's then able to make graphics similar to what could be created on Canva, just listed, price reduction, price increase, open house marketing. It creates all those flyers with a saved brand kit that we've likely already made for our client. So then no longer do you have to pay that VA that stresses you out or that really overpaid admin in America that claims no one else can make graphics like her. Someone can, and their name is Custom GPT. So the coolest one, the end product of this is that with the real estate listing GPT, it is also trained once the comp report is made that when offers start coming in, it builds a little report. I mean, there's tons of softwares out there that people are custom charging for this, when the truth is you want your own custom GPT. Paying a third party to basically just read offers to you and summarize it is a prompt. That's not a company. And so what you want to be sure of is that when these offers come in, It remembers how the clients are. It knows if they're decisive, if they're going to get overwhelmed, or if you need to condense these offers. And then it displays all of them in a way that allows them to make the best decision. You're just guiding them to make that best decision. And it gives you as confidence, the business owner, that you're not forgetting anything throughout the way. Bonus points. If you use this for more than 5 to 10 listings, you can actually ask it to act as your real estate coach and tell you what you've done correctly and what you could do better at in your entire listing process. And then we can take that information, save it back to the system so that your coaching info not only gets told to you, but it's also immediately acted upon in the system your company runs on. The next one is the objection handler GPT. So anytime you've got a sales team, these are needed. I work with a roofing company in Barberton, Ohio, and they have an amazing owner who is very Facebook ad savvy, sales savvy. He was in the insurance industry for 20 years and started his own roofing company. And he also has an amazing crew. His tech team, his sales team, these guys all really care about doing better and serving the client, but they don't have the time or the resources to always be the best salesperson because the owner is running a company. So once we got the knowledge base of all their past calls in their CRM saved, and we put a couple prompts in to analyze these calls and make them better, they saw a spike from their best closer. The best one out of 10 was doing 32% in 2024. Once implemented in 2025, he jumped to 61%. Previously, their worst closer was at 17% in 2024. In 2025, their worst closer was at 38%, meaning their worst in 2025 did better than their best in 2024. Same people, new system. So if you want to know how this works and how we could actually build this for your company and what you're currently doing, here's all it is. You are going to go to the description of this video and book a discovery call. I'm going to pause right now. Go click that button and then come back to here and hit play. If you booked, I'm excited to talk with you. If you didn't book, I'm gonna be honest, man, you're getting into that category of watching content and not taking action that is pretty dangerous for your goals, but I'll continue. First, we do a discovery call. I'm gonna ask you a lot of questions. Some of these are prefixed to make sure I get everything I need, and then I'm gonna have fun prying and finding out what does this person actually do that makes them their money so that I can make the best system for you. We're gonna, as a team, make a workflow. I'm gonna find other workflows that have worked for past clients or others on the internet, and then I'm gonna take that workflow, I'm gonna present it to you, show you how it would work in your day-to-day life and what these little specialized employees would be doing so that you know how to check on their work. Then I take all the knowledge I created, we run a few tests from it, and then boom, your specialized employee is now alive and ready to work for you and your company. We test it on the scene. So whether this is a sales training, whether this is an insurance filer, whether this is a listing manager, whether this is an entire operations manager for your company, we aren't done with this build until you see that robot work. Once it's deployed, most people hire us to be the robot managers. We love optimizing these things, and especially when we tie custom GPTs to quarterly, 6-month, and yearly goals. We've created truly fruitful partnerships where we have implemented AI into these companies. They are no longer fearful of it, and then we are able to refine a system that makes more money, allows us to come in with more competitive offers than the traditional old school marketing agency that was terrified of performance packages, and we find ways to make these builds win-win for you and us. And most times people think, well, my business is too unique. I don't know if anyone can help me. Everyone seems to say that on our first call, and what we quickly realize is there's about 3 to 5 custom GPTs every company needs to even stay up with the competition, and once you implement those, it's much easier to understand what you're going to need moving forward and what it's going to actually look like when these workflows are happening every day. So if you're nervous, but you know it's time to take action, I would love to help you and your team. It's done so much for my company. I've seen it not only affect the financial side of my clients' businesses and make them more money, but I know this is creating a peace of mind that turns off the chaos that me and many other business owners were running on for years on end with no end in sight. You can't get away with that anymore, and every day you wait and you're not responsible for your knowledge base, you're not responsible for the feedback that your Claude gives you, and every day you stick your head in the sand hiding from all of the data that your company has and could be showing you is another day that someone like me or my clients is just gonna keep growing on top of you. And the scariest part is it's not gonna be a loud crash, it's gonna be quiet. You're gonna slowly wonder, why is no one calling me? You're not even gonna have a CRM to check where your leads are. And the second you try to start using ChatGPT, you're gonna be so overwhelmed by the systems you don't have that you actually may not be able to keep up because all these new features coming out for Claude and Codex, you don't care about because you don't even have the knowledge base that they're built to optimize on. So if that got overwhelming, I hope you're ready to take action. I hope you're ready to build your first knowledge base because sometimes you need a little kick in the ass. And especially with how hard and how fast AI is getting, you need to have someone or some team helping you in your company so that you can implement these things quickly, focus on what you're best at, and actually take whatever problems or gaps you had in your company away so that you can grow it the way you've always wanted to.